we said we'd be back. Ladies and gents, The Bench with Jenna and Jon is back for one final time around.
What's the purpose?
Well, we're going to wrap up the season 2024 ahead of season 2025. We will be back in 2025, but what I mean is
wrapping up
for
the
2024, we're going to wrap up the year with some
It's nearly Christmas as well, and we're doing lots of wrapping up, aren't we, Jenna?
Oh, that's a good, I like the segue,
Well,
wrapping up all the gifts that we've bought. But yeah, we're going to kind of pick out some of our most memorable,
some talking points
we think were the funniest moments.
Oh, no.
Talking points, some of the biggest talking points from the season that was Jon Wilkin.
Speaking of talking points.
Yeah.
We've got a very big one, haven't we?
Oh, one of the biggest, yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Matt and Chezzy, who produced this podcast.
And everybody involved in The Bench with Jenna and Jon.
Yeah, we've been nominated as Best Sports Podcast in the World ever.
In the world ever? Okay,
Ever.
I'm going to...
Is that right?
Bring you back
Damn it. No.
as I'm quite used to doing. It is, we've been nominated for the best rugby podcast. Shortlisted, I think, is the correct term.
Best.
Shortlisted.
The best rugby league podcast
No.
by Sky.
It's one. It is one category. Rugby. Right. It could be union. It could be league. So we're in there for.
Have you had a look? Who else is on the shortlist? Come on, give me some names.
I'm not quite sure. 40-20, I think, is on there. 40-20, yep.
Mm.
What about you? What have you got? Anyone?
Yeah, no, nobody.
You haven't been listening to the competition?
Might have been listening, Jenna, if I'm honest. When I got the list, I did have a quick scan through.
How do we look?
Had a spin through. I think if the three lads from Bristol Bears win it, that's it. I'm giving up. That's all I'm saying.
Why?
Listen to it.
Okay.
In fact, don't
listen to it.
Unfollow, unsubscribe.
What you can do is you can vote for us.
Please do.
Jenna and Jon.
Please do.
If you're watching this or if you're listening to
Essentially, this is a really desperate attempt to get votes.
No.
Let's do an end of season wrap podcast and then
to get vote. Anyway, vote if you like us, as you would. Subscribe, 5 stars, and vote, because I believe it will be announced at the end of January. So yeah, vote.
Where can they vote?
Matt, our wonderful producer, is going to make it very clear where it can be found. But yeah, vote as many times as you possibly can. Just kidding. You only need to vote once, but maybe really if you can vote more than once, then
you have numerous emails.
The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jon Wilkin, let's get into our wrap.
Hey, how have you been?
I've been good. Actually, I haven't been great. If you can not tell, I'm a little bit
It's like
nasally.
It's 36 degrees in here and you're dressed like you're going to snow bombing festival.
Well, it's cold. It's not 36 degrees. Don't be dramatic. It's cold. It's cold outside.
So
it's like 6 degrees outside. I've been sick, yeah.
Do you think that is the you had some finish to the season, didn't you?
I'm not quite sure I'm following.
Well, the last 10 days of your working life was crazy.
Yeah, but it was good fun. And then all of a sudden you come to a complete and utter stop and you sit down and you're like, oh, what do I do now?
It's a bit isn't it? Going from that to nothing.
It's weird because you're kind of going all the way up to the grand final and then it's over after 80 minutes. And then, you've got the wheelchair grand final, which follows that following day to tune into on Sky, which was excellent. Yeah. Congratulations to James Simpson and his Leeds Rhinos, who won it once again. But yeah, no, it was a complete stop. And then it's kind of like, what do you do? But I have been keeping busy. Yeah. I'm a mother of 2, so that keeps going.
I'd imagine that.
What have you been up to?
Not much.
Baking?
Not much, yeah. Baking bread. Baking bread.
Great.
I've just been busy with my business. Back into it, like, weirdly, because I've not had to do it because of the rugby season as much. I've not been in as much. So just had a month really getting into it, properly.
Am I right in thinking there's a new bakery that's opened up?
Just opened a new shop, but we're not going to promote that here, Jenna Brooks. It's not.
Half dozen other, I believe, is the name of it. But
that's true.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you very much. 2024 was some year, wasn't it?
It was some year. It was a big year. Yeah. Do you remember how it all started? I suppose the biggest talking point was head contact. No doubt it'll probably be back again at the start of 2025, but head contact. Yeah,
it was the biggest news story. At the start of the year, everybody was like having a conniption about like what it meant and how it would be enforced. And, I think we got to Warrington, Hull, and Famanu Brown was sent off for just the most ridiculous head contact, and we are all kicking off that it was going wrong, but it was Matt Moylan, wasn't it?
On our very first podcast of season 2024, we had Matt Moylan on, and we spoke about the game potentially going soft, how we make sure that it doesn't go soft. But this is just a little reminder of what he had to say.
Rules that they're changing are there to look after players.
Absolutely.
I think, obviously, like, you still want the physical side of the game. Like, that's why the game is what it is. Like, it's a competitive game, it's a contact game. As long as the rules are there to just be implemented in what's best for the players' health, I think, like, we still want the contact to stay in the game, but you've got to look after the product, which is the players. And we had a talk about it at the club the other day about the rules and what they're bringing into the game, and that was what they told us. It's never been legal to hit someone high around the head. I think the officiating on what the end result of hitting someone high, like the result of, like, you're going to get sent off and your sin bin on the sideline.
The actual bin, wheelie bin,
the frowned upon bench.
the word sin on it.
That's the result of it. Obviously, you don't want to see players spending extended time on the sideline. So, like, I think there's going to be some give and take in terms of results from what happens to players who put themselves in that position, but you don't want to see your best players sitting off for an extended period of time as well for something that
and also
been
perhaps missing the next game as well.
Yeah.
So that was the Lee Leopards' Matt Moylan's new recruit of 2024. Unfortunately, he's retired, hasn't he? That was quite a shock, the end of the season.
Yeah.
Sad to see him go.
Well, I think we announced him as the biggest signing of the year, and then immediately gone.
Well, it's second biggest. I think Sam Tomkins was the biggest signing for Sky Sports. Didn't we say that?
I think so. Yeah, that could well be true. But yeah, Matt, good looking retirement. A good chat there about toughness and the perception of it. But I think my favourite moment from that podcast was when we got to I'm off the bench, and
one of your
yes,
marvelous
I just had
ideas.
a great idea, Jenna.
Yeah,
and it was the commercial sin bin.
Was it a great idea? We'll let you be the judge of that. On the bench.
On the bench for me is the sin bin. Not people being sin binned, but the name, calling it the sin bin. One, it's not a bin. You don't get in a bin, do you? It's not a bin. There's no bin. You go sit on the bench.
What's your name for it then?
Sin bin. No, I want it to be a sin bin. So, you know, a big wheelie bin, a commercial bin, right? And the player's got to get in it. And not just that, you shut the lid, right?
Sideline.
Yeah. So then at the end of it, they get out the bin and it's on camera.
You're going to close the lid on them.
Close the lid on them. And then when they get out, they've no idea what's been happening.
So they come into the game and...
Yeah, they're like, whoa, what happened? And then there's like, Matt,
also,
what happened? We conceded.
The light's probably going to affect their vision.
Yeah, and they'll be a bit like startled, like a bear coming out of hibernation.
Okay.
That's what I want to see.
I like the creativity on it. I don't think you get it past coaches.
This is what I mean, Matt, when I gave you the heads up for on and off. I'm like, no, it doesn't have to be serious like some of the stuff he comes out with.
I like it,
But call it the sin bin, but make it a bin, or change the name. The naughty chair.
The naughty
Call
bench.
it the naughty bench.
Okay,
Call it
naughty.
a little bit
but
of a
it is a
whoopsie
sin.
bench.
It's a sin. They've sinned. That's why they're there.
It's not sin, is it? It's not like you murdered somebody.
No, but a sin is a sin. A sin is doing something wrong.
Gluttony. They've not been greedy. They've not been lazy. They've just hit somebody high. It's not a sin.
They could have. I don't know.
Mildly
Anyway,
illegal bench.
Okay.
Exactly.
Frowned upon.
Frowned upon bench.
I have to go to my phone for
That's
mine.
what let's call it. That. It's not a sin bin.
So fair to say that was the first podcast of the year. Started.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. The bin.
Started at the bottom. We could only go up from there.
I think that was
and
good.
On.
It was a strong start.
I mean, it certainly generated a lot of chit chat, a lot of a lot of comments from the public about the on and off segment. But as I said, we could only go up from there. But another big talking point was actually Salford. Yeah. Do you remember Ryan Briley, the beloved Ryan Briley, Paul Rollies?
I remember him. Why is he dead?
No.
Do you remember him?
Do you remember the podcast? I don't mean him. I mean him.
He hasn't died. Ryan Briley hasn't died.
No, Ryan Briley. But his predictions were so off. In fact, your predictions were so off. We got him on fairly early. I think it was one of the earlier podcasts of the year. He predicted Salford to finish 11th.
And where did they finish?
Well, they finished 4th.
And did you believe that they'd ever finish 11th?
Nope.
Why?
Because I know what Paul Rowley brings
man.
to a team.
Anyway,
know
so
what
Joe
it is.
Burgess at Hull KR, great player. You've lost him. Brody Croft, Man of Steel, former Man of Steel.
Yeah.
You lost him. Andy Acker's one of the greats from last season.
Jesus,
It's
Jenna,
hurt-
do you know when you see a car
It's
crash on the
hurting this,
motorway,
man.
do you slow down?
I'm like,
and watch it?
crumpling
Can
here.
Can I get to my point before you interrupt? My point being, this is This is what Paul Rowley does, and you as well as a great player.
Dismantles teams.
No, he writes off the critics and he goes and he achieves. When no one believes, he achieves. So 2024, who knows? You doubt it?
I think there's a realism, isn't there, what needs to be made from our situation. I think when you lose that much quality, I think you get away with 1 or 2. I think when you lose 5 full-on starters, if you're starting 13, I think it becomes very difficult. When you try, there's only so long you can hold on to a narrative of playing the underdog and emotionally getting involved, invested into games. John, I know that emotion only lasts so long, doesn't it, in a long season. So yeah, we're just kind of controlling our expectations as well as we can at the moment.
So what are your expectations?
11th, he said.
Yeah, I think budget says 11th, so we'll start there and keep chipping. I think what I will say from a realistic point of view is,
So if you finish above 11th, you'll be happy.
yeah,
Do people
If you
ever
finish
put...
10th, you're going to be smiling.
yeah.
I love that, because Ryan, he was not convinced. You couldn't even change his
I
mind.
know.
You were more confident than he was about how Salford could do. And what a
Finished
season.
4th.
It was an unbelievable season for them. Scarily, at the minute, we're talking about what's going on there, the financial trouble and all of that, and how that dust settles. But he was way off. I was way off. Salford were magnificent again.
Even Rolls was off a little. I feel like I even was like a better predictor than him.
Oh, but they're full of aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah, because they come out at the start.
Wait,
of the
hang on.
year.
Wait, are you praising me for my correct prediction, or
Yeah,
what?
absolutely.
Right, because
Well,
you were happy with them finishing 11th,
No,
weren't you?
I
Not
absolutely.
happy, but as in happy with the prediction of them
I
finishing 11th.
absolutely was wrong.
Right.
Right. I accept that,
Okay.
and you were right.
Yeah.
Which is what you want from this, whatever this is. That's it.
Hang on, it's not the only time I've been right about a prediction.
No, it's annoying. There's a couple of times you've absolutely nailed it.
What's another time?
Oh, the one before the grand final where you
Let's just listen to what I had to say. So here we go. What an incredible atmosphere the grand final was.
Wasn't it? Wow.
The crowd, it was a rugby league sellout. There was hardly a spare seat.
Well,
only
there
those
wasn't a
two-
spare seat.
Well, there was that section that they
No, you
can't-
just said there was no
There
spare
wasn't
seats.
an available.
There were no available seats that could be sold.
Like that
in the
crowd,
house.
like the Robins fans turned up in force. My word, Wigan fans were noisy, and what a game! Was that the greatest grand final in the history of grand finals?
Yes.
Without doubt.
Yes.
Without doubt.
What was your favourite bit, Sam?
It was probably Junior and Semba's 100-metre try.
Yeah.
To go 100
He's
metres
quick,
for a
isn't he?
big man.
Yeah.
Picked it up and he's on in goal.
And then when he did it twice, you're like,
Yeah.
no way.
What about
And then
the-
he started kicking goals.
Yeah,
It
no,
was-
and
it
when
was
he
crazy.
went to Golden Point, you just knew he got the ball. He was on the 20. He's kicked an 80-yard field goal. Junior and Semba, incredible.
It was
So
mad.
Rob Burrow, he was the first recipient of the Rob Burrow Award.
He was big
Great
time.
interview as well, wasn't
Deservedly
it?
so, yeah.
Wasn't it
Cracking
great?
interview.
He cried. Like he liked to make people cry.
Cried. Bevan French out. What a try Bevan scored.
No, he didn't. Junior scored all the points.
Bevan scored a brilliant try. So Wigan, they've won all 4 pieces of silverware
Well done,
in
Matty Pete.
2024.
Matty Pete retired after the game because he'd won everything. Do you remember that?
Sick of-
What about that?
sick of it.
Sick of winning. He's like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to polish my trophies.
I mean, let's be honest, I can't exactly take credit for that. I mean, it was a pretty easy prediction. Bevan French
yeah.
was
Oh,
the
absolutely.
star of the season.
But-
So fortunate to see him go round.
And the try was the difference in the grand final.
It was.
He
And
made
it was a
the
brilliant
difference.
try. It was a cracking try. But yeah, no, I'll take credit.
Yeah, so you were right
That's
about
true.
Bevan French, and you were right about Salford.
Salford.
You were right about Salford in one way in particular. That's Paul Rowley.
Mhm.
Like, he just keeps delivering for Salford. Like, with no resources. Obviously, he's got no resources.
Yeah. And
He's literally
you know what it came down to?
belief.
Belief.
We're an ageing team,
Yeah.
but with obviously the plus side is experience and a lot of grand final wins in there with Singo and Callum and people like that. Sneedy, Landstop Trophy winner twice. So they've been there anyway. They know what it looks like. They know what winning looks like consistently, week to week. And then I think the rest of the players who don't know what that looks like have probably looked up to these teams and understood what it feels like and want to be where they've been as well. So that we just meet the challenge, and it's not me that gets them up at all. I just think
You are modest.
No,
That's not what they say.
No. It's the group. The group just we have a bit of a buzz about us. We enjoy coming to training. Everybody enjoys each other company. We're a very honest group with each other. So sometimes that's quite cutting. But the more often it's based on a little bit of humility. Everybody's, we're all down to earth, but we all have a bit of a laugh. But we're very serious about our trade. And I always use, and I speak to Jenna right at the beginning of the season about Nenny McDonald as a little bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. That's what I said. Now he's a character, and people look at him as a character and think he's a bit of a joker. But ultimately, when he's switched on, he's studious. He's learning. He's coming to us with stuff, and that's all the time. And I think we've got a captain in Callum Watkins who absolutely sets the standard of the whole club, the club and us as well. We look up to him.
Yeah.
He knows what it looks like. He's had the ups, he's had the downs. So he's not been at one club and won everything all the time. Yeah. He's had some adversity as well, and he's come through the other side. He's the ultimate pro, and he's brilliant, you know. So people like that are what makes our club. Absolutely.
See, if you can believe, anything is possible.
I think you said if you believe, then you achieve.
If you believe, you receive. Just
you receive.
That's actually it. But
that sounds so wrong.
I don't know.
If you believe, you receive.
Anyway, what were you going to say? Something about Salford and the belief that Paul Rowley instills in his players. It's incredible.
Yeah, but that's what doesn't ring true about predicting you finish 11th, is that then they're talking about belief and how much belief they've got, and they don't care what the people think. So it just points the finger to Paul Rowley and Ryan Brierley just throwing off a little bit of a smoke bomb and just saying, "Oh, look at us, we're all going to be fine," and then knowing that they're probably better than
no one expected them to do better than 11th, and my oh my,
no. I just need to mention on this podcast there was you had a number of clangers. You know, we can't praise you for being accurate the whole way through, and if anything, the one thing that stood out for me from this podcast was where you actually thought Huddersfield Giants mascot was Earl Crabtree.
So, team names for the competition, what we've done is picked, just a random troop of aggressive apex predator. Yeah, but animals or the scary things. Whatever it is.
Giants.
The Giants. Have you seen their mascot? That's not right.
Isn't it Earl Crabtree?
Well, it's called a giant. No, it's not.
I thought it was Ryan Hudson. It's not based on Ryan Hudson.
No, it's Earl Crabtree.
What are you two talking about?
I mean, you know the same thing, aren't we?
No, but it's a giant, but it's not a giant.
It's Earl Crabtree. I'm sure
it's not Earl Crabtree, Jenny.
I have to edit this one out.
No, it's not Earl Crabtree.
Who is it?
It's a costume. It's a man in a costume. He's their ambassador. I think you're getting ambassador.
No, it's not literally Earl Crabtree.
Oh, bless Earl. He has actually got gigantism. No,
it's Ryan Hudson.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean,
it looks like Ryan Hudson, yeah. But anyway,
it was based on him.
The Huddersfield Giants mascot is creepy, honestly. If you walked into that mascot in a dark alley, you'd scream. It's genuinely scary. My nephew cried when he saw it. You know,
she genuinely believed it was Earl Crabtree. She's lost it.
You've got to think as a human in there. I always say this about mascots. Don't trust them. There's a human inside that costume. You know, you're looking in their eyes and they're doing a little dance and you think that's a grown-up.
We never got to the bottom of that. What did you actually think that was?
Easy mistake. It's an absolute.
But we never. You've never.
Ryan also.
No, you thought it was Ryan Hudson, but I'm saying we never really finished that off.
Why?
What bit of that did you think was Earl Crabtree?
I thought the mascot was. Earl is an ambassador for the Huddersfield Giants.
Yes.
Right? I thought it was a natural. He's big. He's a giant. Therefore, it would be a natural. He's a famous Huddersfield player, so therefore, I thought it would be.
But you thought the mascot was modelled on Earl Crabtree. It wasn't actually Earl Crabtree.
No, but what? You actually, what? Well, hang on, whoa, you think that what? Actually, oh my word. No, I thought it was modelled. Yes, John, I thought
Right.
it was modelled on Earl Crabtree, which,
Fine.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
All right. Brilliant. Just going back on like predictions and people getting things right and all of that, or even like putting a curse on someone. What about when we had Chris Kendall on?
Yeah.
And he was saying,
Wow.
he was saying about how what you don't want is like a sending off in the opening few minutes of a game. Well, let's just hear exactly what he had to say. This is it.
Chris, welcome.
No,
Fantastic.
thank you.
Is that true? Your goal is to go unnoticed on the pitch. Is that a successful game?
Yeah, I think so. I think you go onto the field at any point, and the aim is to try and kind of be unnoticed and be the one that's not the talking point. You want to try and let the players be the talking points. The Bevan Frenches, the Matt Dufties, those are the ones that you want to be kind of the talking points after games, not the refs.
Do you know when you are going to be the talking point though? So you
on the most part,
in the game, right? Do you do if something happens and you go, I know that's going to make.
I'll use the Challenge Cup final as an example.
Yes.
I know 90 seconds into that game, I'm sim binning Mike Cooper and then I sim bin Matt Dufty.
Yeah.
I know that I'm the talking point now.
Right.
I know I'm 2 minutes into the 2024 Challenge Cup final.
Oh, no.
And I know that I'm going to be the
How do you
talking
get that
point.
out of your mind? You've got to get it out quick.
She's got to go.
Yeah, so he knew at that stage. He what he's saying is, if I make a massive call early doors, I know I'm going to be the talking point in the game. Then the game, 2 hours after we recorded the podcast,
Yep, 20 minutes in.
he sent somebody off.
James Harrison got a red card.
I know. It reminds me of one of the referees who goes around doing the after dinner speaking. He told a story at a dinner I was at, and he's saying he went into one of the corporate lounges and when the Wolverhampton Wanderers fans were laughing at him, and he said he won't be laughing when I send Keith Curl, your captain, off.
No.
And
Fair
he
enough.
had to send him off, of
Fair
course.
enough. There you go.
So
The
Chris
curse. We'll
Kendall.
call it a curse. But Chris Kendall, it was awesome getting him on the podcast and hearing stories.
Yeah, we don't hear enough from them, do we? Like,
No,
they're a
we
bit
don't.
anonymous, and all they do is get criticised. Like, they just get stick all the time. And he made some really good points. Like, refs can never win, can they? There's not a position where they actually come out, and it was that almost being anonymous. Like, what describes a good performance? People completely not knowing you even exist.
Yeah, who was the ref on that game?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Well,
it's one of those weird professions, but good on them for doing it. It's tough.
another massive talking point from the year that is we kind of touched on it at the start, but our very own Sam Tomkins announcing his
Just make your mind up. You know, he's making mind.
Hang
up.
on. So let's just clear it up for everyone. He announced that he was going to retire at the end of last year. Well, last year being 2023, which we knew he was retiring. He then joined the Sky Sports team.
And we were delighted, weren't we?
We were delighted.
Sam Tomkins, the big news this season is that you've joined the Sky Sports team.
Was it big news?
It's the big news, the big signing.
Yeah.
Massive
Huge.
signing. Biggest
Huge.
signing of the season, we're hearing.
Thanks, I'll take that.
The Sams, it's the Burgess and the Tomkins, isn't it? It's the stories.
Slightly overshadowed by Sam Burgess,
Well,
but yeah,
well,
I'll take it. No, I'm buzzing to be part of the team. I feel like I've been a squad player for a while, you know, getting a few looks
Yeah.
in.
It's hard, that, isn't it?
I've just been given my 1 to 13 number, so yeah, excited.
Very excited. Who would you say has made you most welcome?
Yourself.
Oh, such a
Was that a loaded question?
Oh my gosh.
Who has made you feel most uncomfortable?
Oh, John. Easily.
It's such a stitcher. I saw you two
Easily.
chatting over there, and I'm
No.
like, this is a plan being hatched to
that
take
just
me
came
down.
straight from the heart.
It
I'm
did
sorry,
straight.
John.
It is me.
It's great to have you, though. It really is.
Yeah, it's something I've always
So
wanted to do.
intense. Why is that so intense?
This has been like, you know, all I want to do for 15 years was play rugby, and then when I started doing the TV stuff, I was like, well, that's what I want to do next then.
Now, he says that he was enjoying not having to do anything. If only we could get one of those lie detectors on him. And
But he again, right? If we talk about nonsense, you've talked about Paul Rowley and Ryan Briley throwing nonsense around. Me and Sam were working together every week. He's loving it. In fact,
what are you doing?
I could take it personally, couldn't I? Sam seems to be having such a good time. Seems to be enjoying it so much. And then all of a sudden,
because he's spending so much time
maybe
with you.
3 months in, he's got this guy.
So
You're the, what do you mean? Yeah, but
no,
right behind him.
No. So Sam announces that he's coming out of retirement, and he did so in style. He did it, of course. Well, actually, it was meant to be done on Sky.
Yeah.
But it got gazumped by some press in the south of France, unfortunately. But we still managed to make a massive story about it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was a huge story that he retired. I mean, and a great thing for Sky to get him on board. For me personally, like having him around. Yeah, at that time he's saying he's not doing a lot of training. He's like enjoying. He's almost turning into that retired athlete. Like his body was changing.
Yeah. So then we put pressure on him, didn't we? We had him on kind of, I guess, back in maybe September-ish. We had him on and put pressure on him. Okay, so we know that, you're playing this season. Catalan hadn't made the playoffs, which was obviously a big letdown for all the Dragon supporters and the club as a whole. What happens next, Sam? Is that it? Are you going to go out playing your last game at Hull FC? Well,
the obvious one, have you got any regrets about coming out of retirement?
No, not at all. I've no regrets. I love the club, and the club are in a difficult position. So when they said, will you come back, it was quite an easy decision for me, really, after a little bit of thinking, because I wanted to help and wanted to be part of the group, and I came in when we weren't in a great position, and we signed Jared Wallace at the same time. Remus Smith came over, so there was an obvious change in the club. We need to change something, and I was one of the parts to that. But I don't think anyone that came in, myself, Jared or Remus Smith, made a big enough impact to change the course of the season. But yeah, for me, I've no regrets, because I did exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to go in and wanted to help. So no regrets. I just wish it had finished a little bit better.
It was a monumental game in the sense that it was Denny Houghton's final game. Was it yours?
I don't know. Is the honest answer. You want to finish like I thought I was going to finish, winning at Old Trafford last year, and I didn't get that. No, I wouldn't like my last game. I never want my last game to come, really. I've made that clear. I never wanted to retire.
No. How does the knee feel?
A lot better than it did in 2023.
So funny, a lot better.
Yeah, well, I spent some time speaking to some physios and specialists when I came back, and just before I came back, and just after. People I wanted to know, was it all right, and things. And what I got was 8 months of just pure recovery, because when you get injured, you come back after a few weeks, you start your rehab, and it's all about building strength in whatever joint it is, but you're always aggravating that joint at the same time. And what I had was the luxury of having 8 months of doing nothing. I didn't run for 8 months.
South of France.
Which and like if a team got a player injured, the best recovery would be just let it heal. But no one's going to say, oh, you're on X amount of thousands a year. Just sit on the sofa for 8 months. Don't come in training. Don't lift a weight. And you'll
Kyle
be a little
bit better. Been doing that for 8 months.
8 years. But
Kyle, we love you. That's not true.
It is true.
It is a bit true.
It is true. Yeah.
So my knee feels a lot better than it was.
Do you reckon you've got another season in you?
I could play again, yeah.
Yeah, so not only is he's retired twice now, hasn't he? Yes. Retired at the end of 23.
Yeah.
Then he,
kind of was like unsure whether he was going to pick up,
lace
up for 2025.
So that was his second retirement, in effect.
Yep.
And the conversation on the very final podcast of the year was, would he come out of retirement? This is for his third career.
He said that he hadn't made a decision, but what we did on that final podcast,
but we knew he had.
We knew he had.
Something that I want to actually bring up was the last time you were on the podcast, which was a couple of weeks ago. We were both putting pressure on you about your career and what happens next, and you're like, "Yeah, I haven't made a decision," which was a fib, wasn't it?
It wasn't a fib.
It was a fib.
It wasn't a fib.
We could
hand on her.
We could see right through it. I knew
it wasn't a fib. On, so that's a big one. Congratulations that you finally made that decision.
Yeah.
Just
wasn't like such a. So angry about it.
Just not at all.
Maybe he didn't know.
I genuinely didn't know. Well, hand on heart.
Anyway. So he's hoping third time lucky for Sam Tomkins.
What about fourth?
Well, let's just get through the third. Let's hope that it's a successful season for our colleague and the Catalan Dragons.
Yeah. And in the final pod of the year, which was with Sam, I think.
That was very hard to do, by the way, just to put it into context. It was difficult because we did it the day before the grand final, didn't we?
Oh, we did, yeah.
So it was very hard to... Anyway, I think we did a good job. It was quite funny. I found it funny.
Well, you had a great suggestion, and we were talking about tailgating and the American style, and you'd said that you would
This was an on and off the bench, by the way.
You would love to see more marching bands.
I have an off the bench, and it's marching bands.
What?
How good would that be? Marching bands.
What, like NFL?
Yeah.
Like college football?
Yeah.
So like somebody...
Tailgating as well. How good would it be to tailgate in the car park?
You do a fair bit of tailgating on the M6, Jenna Brooks.
Well...
What, so you want to do a tailgate party?
Yeah.
How do they get away with that? Because I went to the New York Jets and clearly everyone's rotten drunk and then the car park's empty.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
They'll drive off
they can't
after
drive.
it.
Well, obviously they
Well,
have
they've got like
designated...
tents set up and there's like raves
but
going on.
obviously they have a
The
designated
setups, they've got
driver.
like big flat screen TVs come out the back of the trucks.
It's
and
so
all that.
American,
It's a
isn't it?
proper party.
Love it.
But
That's
they
what
don't
I
go in the
want.
stadium.
Yes.
They go in the stadium after.
They go in the
Watch
stadium.
game. So they turn up early, they tailgate before the game, so they'll turn up a couple of hours beforehand.
Because I've been to a few games and I just thought
they're in the car park?
outside. Yeah, because they've got TVs and that.
Yeah, but
Then
they're
why
watching
would they
the
have a
pre-game.
TV?
They're watching the pre-game.
No, Sam's right. What are they doing out there?
I think some of them don't go in the
enjoying.
stadium. I think some of them go for the atmosphere outside. They party outside and then leave. Genuinely.
Maybe. I'm not
Oh
quite
God, I'm
sure.
putting America on the bench.
Anyway,
for that.
I
America's
want
going
that
on
off
the bench.
I like tailgating and like marching bands and like they'll just help with the atmosphere.
Yeah, I like a marching band,
Yeah.
just straight down the middle. Loads of guys playing the trombone.
All girls, really cool.
Girls.
Okay, yours?
Girls. Loads of girls blowing the
Right.
trombone.
Jeez. Okay, come on, off the
Girls
bench.
or guys. It's 2024, isn't it? Everybody can blow a trombone these days. Honestly, I don't know. It's true, isn't it? I'm glad you corrected me because girls can blow the trombone just as well as men.
Do you like a trombone, Jenna Brooks?
I mean,
Did you know at the time?
stop.
The alternate
This is
meaning
horrific.
of that? What do you mean it's horrific?
Because, do you
It's
know,
funny. Isn't it?
I mean,
It's
you
not.
have a very odd sense of humour.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Another massive talking point was the rise of Hull KR. And
Oh,
having-
did they rise?
Oh, they rose all the way to Old Trafford.
Right.
Unfortunately, it didn't go as they
Right up there.
wanted it to go in the end. But amazing, so exciting to see what happens in 2025. They've made some massive signings.
It's just all good news, wasn't it?
Yep.
You know, it was one of those years, barring winning anything, which sounds crazy in sport, and it is that you say they had just an amazing year, but they didn't win.
They went very close.
But they didn't win anything.
No, but they did create history by making
But they
it
didn't win
Old
anything.
Trafford for the very first time.
I'll say
in a
that again,
superhero.
just for emphasis. They
Okay.
didn't win anything.
Okay.
But
One of the great pods was with their CEO, Paul Lakin, wasn't it?
Paul Lakin, yeah. Mad, his relationship.
Collector.
Well, flip-flop collector. Can we talk about that?
Okay, let's just listen
It's like
to
it
it.
was just like a kinky secret. Why is he so obsessed with the most basic footwear of all time? There's no more basic footwear than a branded flip-flop.
Apologies, because we did put him on the spot, didn't we?
I keep bringing up things that I've been told about you. I've
In the
spoken to
car
a few people.
We did a lot of... We spoke to people in the car park, didn't we?
No, I'm not going to say who told me this, but I believe you have quite... obsession is a word that we've been using a few times.
Let's lose it again.
Flip-flops, Javianas.
Oh my word!
Oh. Come on, Paul.
Yeah. I love my flip-flops. I've got dozens and dozens and dozens of pairs
So
of
for the
flip-flops.
Aussie listeners,
You collect flip-flops.
My big regret in life is I nearly set up a flip-flop company about 5-6 years ago, and I wish I had.
But how many pairs of Javianas do you
Oh,
have?
honestly.
What do you mean?
Like 40 or 50 pairs.
Why?
Sorry, we live in England. You live in Hull. I assume you
Why
live in
don't-
Hull,
why
or
don't you
at least close by. Like,
I know. I can't believe someone's told you that. One day I thought, do you know what? I'm going to really take on the world of flip-flops. I never managed it. There you
well,
go.
I mean, time is still of the like you can
I
do
know.
it, right? Time is
I know.
kind.
Did
You've
you have
got
a brand?
plenty of time ahead.
Did you have a name?
I did.
You had everything?
I did.
Everything, a website?
24/7.
24/7.
Yeah, I had it all worked
So,
out.
well, for winter, just 24. Hang on, I'm not.
Get it?
Wait.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You
I
can
get
wear
it.
them 24/7, can't you?
Yeah. But you're not.
Oh no, well that would look stupid. Right?
I'd go into the board meeting in them.
What's
That's
your
what I
favourite
want.
colour? Flip flop.
That is really random.
No, you're random with your flip
You know,
flops.
you can't accuse anybody of being random when you collect flip flops.
Red.
Oh,
Red.
that is random.
Right. Do you have any flip flops?
I've got, I do. Yeah, I don't have 40 or 50 pairs of Javianas. I have a couple, yeah. black. I'm always just a solid black. Goes with
does
everything.
anybody know this about you?
Everyone
it
does
feels
now.
like a bit of the kinky secret. I don't know if you. I know it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Paul Lakin, flip-flop.
Yeah, flip-flop fan.
Fan.
And a big fan of Wheelie Pete.
A massive fan.
He loves
And we
Wheelie.
said, didn't we, that
He does love
arguably
Wheelie.
that was the best piece of business that the club and Paul had done.
Yeah.
Bringing in Willie Peters, amazing coach.
I think he spoke a lot about, like, I think in sport and life, like, you've got to be obsessed. Like, you have to be immersed in something. You have to just be consumed by it. And I meet
An obsession.
But I meet some people in sport, and I see that they're not like that. And I think the best people I've ever come across, it means more to them than simply a job that's an obsession. And Paul Lakin described his relationship with Willie Peters perfectly.
I test him quite a lot too.
How?
So, just in terms of what's next, and not necessarily on the pitch, but in terms of, say, the academy and the players coming through the academy, or in terms of looking ahead to 2026 and, player development.
How are you looking ahead to 2026 before 2025's even begun?
Oh, you have to be.
Yeah. Well,
you have to be.
Well, 2025's done for us.
Okay.
So
Reece Martin, great.
Yeah.
Done and
So it's
dusted.
done. So it's like, what's next? So it must be 2026.
It is. The recruitment and actually getting players on and then looking at succession, for me, I might be wrong, is the business.
Yeah.
Is the business for you, right?
Yeah, listen, when I left both football clubs, they both gave me the same message, which was there's nothing more important than recruitment. Like, number one, be obsessed with recruitment, because everything, if you get that right, everything else becomes that little bit easier. Retail, corporate, attendances, it's all relative to my role, which is income. So I am obsessed with recruitment. I thought I was until I met Willie. He is obsessed with recruitment.
Absolutely obsessed.
Yeah.
What he wants everybody. Is Willie like that guy? Do you remember Championship Manager, Jenna? No. Championship Manager was a game where you pretended you were a football manager.
A video game?
Yeah, and you could buy any player in the world, couldn't you?
Oh,
and immediately I'd go on there and you just go around like Ronaldo, sign him,
So it's
sign
a little
him,
bit like
sign him,
fantasy
sign him.
football now.
Yeah, but I imagine Willie Peters is just like, let's go get, why are we not getting Jerome Luai? Let's get Nathan Cleary. Let's get James Tedesco.
No, he understands the salary cap. Do you know what? The good thing about Willie, he used to work in commercial. So, he understands the other side of the club, and that's helped greatly. So he does understand the salary cap.
And talk as a working day for Willie Peters then. You say he's obsessed. So obsessed is the right word, isn't it?
Obsessed.
In a good way. That can be good and bad, can't it?
But in a very good way.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a very good way.
But he works long.
Yeah, he works long hours. He often talks about that. He has a quote about 5 a.m. boxer. The best boxers are up at 5 a.m. and he's up at that time every morning.
Boxing?
Probably. He's a fit bloke. And throughout the day, he's in multiple conversations all the time, right through the evening. He lives and breathes it. He knows what he wants. And, you have to admire him.
Yeah, so congratulations, of course, to the Wigan Warriors, who were victorious in the grand final. Congratulations to Willie Peters as well, of course. As we all know, he led his Hull KR team to Old Trafford. Brilliant season for both clubs. Great to watch. Can't wait for 2025. Just finally, before we let you go, Jon Wilkin.
Let you go.
You've been riding in any taxis of late? Have you been mistaken for any famous rugby players?
No. That's really tragic, isn't it? But yeah.
Hang on, whoa. If you don't know what we're talking about, just listen to this.
The recognisable thing for me is I'm not not particularly recognisable, but the only time I ever get into any sort of bother with it is, you go down to London or something, you get to Euston, getting a black cab driver's looking in the rear view, he's looking in the rear view thing and he's sort of eyeballing you, and I'm like,
looking in the
when he's looking at me and he's thinking, he goes, I know you mate, I know you from somewhere, and I'm like, oh, I don't think you do.
South African taxi driver?
Welsh. It's Welsh.
I was going to say Australian.
Well, then he's from South Africa originally.
Right.
Well, did you pick that up? That's awesome.
Spent some time in Oz.
And he's like, he goes, you look familiar, and I'm like, oh, you've done? And he goes, well, where would I know? I'm like, oh, maybe rugby, maybe. And he goes, all right, what's your name? And I'm like, Jon Wilkin. And because it's the Southern thing, he genuinely thinks I'm saying that I'm Johnny Wilkinson.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has no idea that there's a different...
Yeah.
And he's like looking at me in the rearview mirror and he swear down thinks I'm lying. He's like, he knows what Johnny Wilkinson looks like. He's not. It's like being John Wilkin when there's Johnny Wilkinson out there. He's like, it's a bit tragic, isn't it? It's like being Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Elon Musk, he's just got a really crap electric car brand called Elon Musk.
Yeah, there's nothing more demoralising actually than being recognised, but not
somebody who plays similar sport to you,
but is better
who's,
than you,
like really successful.
Like really successful, you know, like like I said, Elon Musk, or being a businessman, or Jenna Breaks.
Shame.
And she's really good touchline.
There we go. I mean,
broadcaster, presenter.
But you.
Yeah, I'll get over it. Fine. My
over
self-esteem is robust enough to deal with
anyway,
mistaken
all
identity.
in all, it's been a great season, 2024. This is officially a wrap from us at the bench with Jenna and Jon, but we will be back with plenty more in 2025. And don't forget to vote.
Yeah, please vote.